Peace, love, liberty, radio.
And the walls come crashing down as the war at home reaches your town. You have no choice, it's safe and clean. We all submit to the war machine.
So I want to start off the show with a rant. And I don't know how many people, I'm sure some of you have seen things on Facebook and other social media where people are complaining that Caitlyn Jenner received some award from ESPN. So the ESPYs, or the awards that ESPN has every year, apparently those were held a couple nights ago. And I was driving around, I think yesterday, 2 days ago, driving around doing some errands, and I'm listening to talk radio, because that's what I do. Like, I listen primarily to sports radio because that's what I enjoy. So when I'm relaxing or if I'm driving, like I'm bombarded with news enough as it is because of what I do. So I want to hear something different. So I was listening to ESPN radio, and I think it was Colin Cowherd, who is, well, one of the, more popular, like, daytime hosts on ESPN. And somebody called his show and was complaining that I was at the ESPYs. I bought a ticket to the ESPYs, and it was thrown in my face that Caitlyn Jenner is transsexual and was given this award, the Courage Award, the ESPY Courage Award, and there were other people that were more deserving, and he started talking about some military person that did something and apparently played a sport after being in the military, and so that person deserves the award. And then I just saw something on Facebook where it was one of these pictures with words on it that had a picture of, I'm guessing it was a hockey player. I have no clue who it is, and it said had a heart attack in the middle of a game and went back and finished the game. And then it had the picture of Caitlyn Jenner that says got his balls cut off, has not done anything sports related, is given the Courage Award. So let me just start by saying I don't care who gets the ESPN Courage Award at the ESPYs. I really don't. I don't care who wins any of the awards for anything, because most of the awards are not really awarding people for being the best player. It's subjective because there are various ways, and I've gone through and tried to objectively figure out who the best player in various sports are, and it's very difficult to do. And the reason I say it's very difficult to do is because you have to look at the seen versus the unseen. And this gets into sort of libertarian ideology a little bit, because the seen, if you're just looking at statistics of this person ran for X number of yards, this person scored X number of touchdowns, that's something that's very visible. You can see that. But what you can't see is whether or not that person is encouraging the other players to get better. If that person is what they call the off-the-field leader, meaning that, yeah, you can be great on the field, but then if you're not, interacting with your teammates off the field or off the court, then it doesn't really matter because you're not bringing a positive impact to the team, or rather you're not bringing as much of a positive impact as you could off the field by encouraging them, saying, hey, you know what, I realize you fumbled, but just, try again harder. Like, here's what I do. This is how I don't fumble, or this is how I do, fill in the blank. So that's the unseen. So that's where it does become very subjective of who's the better athlete, who's the better player, who deserves to be listed as the most valuable player. But if you like award shows, and some of them I'll watch, like, the ones just before the college football bowl season, they give out awards like the Grantland Award and the Heisman Trophy and some of these others. I enjoy watching those because it's one of those things of sometimes a player will win one award for outstanding player, but not another one. So you might have somebody that gets the award for most outstanding player, but they don't win the award for their position. So it's interesting to see and try to figure out how it's determined who wins what award. But if you're really this upset, and I don't know if anybody listening to the show is really that upset about it, but if you are, then there is something you can do. Something other than calling into the local sports radio station and saying that, it's thrown in your face that Caitlyn Jenner had a sex change. What you could do, and this is something that, I'm giving my own advice here, or rather I've taken, the advice that I'm about to give. Start your own award. And it might sound like, I don't know how to do that. Well, I didn't know how to do that either when I first issued my own Peace Prize in 2009, but I figured it out. And it's something that I don't really promote as much as I should, and I should definitely mention this more. The FPP Peace Prize has been given out annually since 2009. And I started giving out my own Peace Prize because I realized the Nobel Prize is basically worthless. Now, not worthless in the fact that the person that gets the award doesn't receive something. They get like a big, huge check, and they get a nice gold medal. But it doesn't actually go to the person that is actually promoting peace. And I can give you more exhibits than just Barack Obama. There's also Henry Kissinger and a bunch of other horrible people that have been given the Nobel Peace Prize. So I started my own Peace Prize. You can find out more. And nominations, by the way, nominations are open until September 1st. So go to peaceprize.fpp.cc and see who the previous winners are. And that's very important because you can't win more than once. That's one thing that differentiates the FPP Peace Prize from the other Peace Prizes that I'm aware of, is you can't win more than once. And the prize goes to people that are actually doing things to promote peace and promote a better, freer society. So the very first winner was Ron Paul. Last year, Free Aid and Ross Ulbricht won the Peace Prize. And I'm actually going to be having supper this Sunday with one of the nominees. And nominees are eligible for 5 years. So go to peaceprize.fpp.cc, make nominations for people that are doing things to bring about a more free, peaceful society. Nominations, like I said, are open until September. And then voting is the month of October and then like the first weekend of November. And voting is going to be available there at peaceprize.fpp.cc. And I will bring back paper balloting this year for anyone that attends Keenvention in Keene, New Hampshire, the end of October. You can find out more about that, keenvention.info, and I will be keynoting that event. Stay tuned. There's more on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent, but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous, but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Thanks, Obama. It's become a very sort of sarcastic statement that people say because, you know, people aren't really happy with a lot of things that Obama's done. Some of the stuff that he's tried to do and that he's got Congress on board with have sort of turned out to sort of backfire, if you will. So remember, there was the stimulus package that wound up not really stimulating the economy. So thanks, Obama. The Affordable Care Act has caused healthcare insurance prices to rise. Of course, Obama points to there's more Americans that are insured today than there were when I got sworn into office 7 years ago. Yeah, of course there's more people that are on health care insurance right now because you made it mandatory. Like, it's now illegal to not have health insurance in the United States of America. Thanks, Obama. Well, there's one woman that thought that she could use Obama as an excuse for counterfeiting money because, well, she read online that Barack Obama made it legal to print your own money at home. Yeah, that sounds kind of funny, right? Well, thanks, Obama. No, you can't actually print your own money at home, and you certainly are not legally allowed to do what Pamela Downs of Kingsport, Tennessee has done. This story here comes from timesnews.net, which I believe is a local to Kingsport, Tennessee. It's Kingsport Publishing Company is marked as the copyright holder at the bottom of the page. So they report a Kingsport woman told police she was counterfeiting money because she read online that President Obama made a new law allowing her to print her own money. That, according to the police report. Police were called to a local grocery store on Sunday night in regards to a complaint about counterfeit money. When the reporting officer arrived, he spoke with a gas station clerk who said just prior to the officer's arrival, a white female had handed him a $5 bill, which he suspected to be counterfeit. Now, it's funny, and words have meaning, right? So I know that I say that a lot, but the word here that is most important to this sentence is a bill which he suspected to be counterfeit. Not a bill that he knew to be counterfeit, not one that he was absolutely certain this is counterfeit, but one that he suspected. And I'll explain why I find that word to be so humorous as I continue with the story. The clerk handed the officer the bill and immediately recognized that the bill had been printed on computer paper and each side had been glued together, but it was falling apart. The officer spoke to the woman, identified as 45-year-old Pamela Downs, and they give her street address, which I will not do, although I will mock this woman for what she has done. I don't think that people need to necessarily go to her house or send her mail. But the article here continues. The officer asked her about the currency, and she reportedly said she received the money from a gas station in Bristol, which is a neighboring town, a few days prior. She told the officer the bill was folded over, and she never inspected it. The officer spoke with the woman. Wait, no, I somehow backed up to the beginning of that paragraph. She was asked by the officer if her purse could be searched. she agreed to a search. Inside her purse, the officer found a $100 bill, which was also counterfeit. And according to the report, that bill was printed in black and white, and the backside of the bill was upside down. Again, 2 pieces of printer paper printed black and white, so didn't even attempt to use color ink on this, just black and white. Here's the 2 pieces, glue them together. That's why I find it so humorous that the store clerk at the gas station simply suspected that the money was fake. Not, yeah, I know this is fake, lady, get out of here. And I've got a small complaint with the gas station clerk guy. Now, I don't know if she had already, pumped the gas. I don't know what it is that she was purchasing with $5. So, the story doesn't say whether or not it was something she had already received or if it was just stuff like, I want to buy this, 2-liter cola and this bag of chips and give me a scratch-off ticket. I don't know if it was that, so it was product that could easily be put back on the shelf or what, but the clerk here could have handled this in ways other than calling the police. Now, it could be argued that counterfeiting currency actually has a victim, and it's one of those things to where really you're only the victim after you receive the currency, and so it's arguable, right, whether or not counterfeiting currency has a victim. But what he could have done was just handed it back to her and said, lady, get out of here. I'm not taking your silly money. But no, the clerk decided, you know what, I'm going to get, Officer Friendly involved on this. And luckily for the lady, Pamela Downs, she did not wind up getting pepper sprayed, tased, or otherwise assaulted by the police. So, there is an upside to this, and it does allow us to sort of, look at the situation and laugh and make fun of her. Because it's just hilarious. This is something that I tried doing, and the statute of limitations has run out, right? 20 years, there's plenty of, statute of limitations room here. So when I was in high school, I was a library aide, which means that for 1 hour every day, I sat in the library, and basically I would do whatever the librarian asked, which basically meant I sat there and had an extra hour to goof off. Well, one day I decided that I was going to use the copier to try to print some dollar bills. And I never could get it to turn out right where the front side and the back side matched up because it wasn't one of these fancy 2-sided printer things. So what this woman is doing, this 45-year-old woman, was doing the exact same thing that I was trying to do 20 years ago when I was 17 years old, because I was like, hey, I wonder if I can make a fake dollar. But how do people counterfeit money? Let me see if I can figure it out. And I don't know what I was going to do with it if I did successfully get one to, look and feel like an actual dollar. And of course it wasn't going to feel like an actual dollar because it was on paper. It wasn't on this weird cotton denim sort of thing with tree fibers mixed into it with ink on it. So it wasn't even going to feel the right way. So I don't know if I was going to hey, let me see if a soda machine will take this. I don't really know what I was going to do with it. But I certainly wasn't going to go to a store and say, no, I got it from the gas station. There's a little bit more on this article when we come back on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Now, one thing is for certain, that you cannot really counterfeit a social network. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, certainly, like, you can make a new social network, but you're not going to create a new Facebook and get people to think that it is actually Facebook, right? So, like, you could create something, it could have all the bells and whistles that the current Facebook has, but there's no way, based on, like, the current way that computers work, that when somebody goes to Facebook.com, that they would be redirected to your site and think that they're actually on Facebook. And that's important because not all social networks are built the same. And that's one of the wonderful things about social networks. And one of the social networks that I use is Liberty.me. And Liberty.me is more than just a social network. So certainly there's the social networking part of the site where you can post statuses, you can join groups, you can post links. And yes, if you want to, you could post links of cat pictures all day long. That's fine. You could also join some of the forums and discuss things. You can download some of the ebooks that are there. You can listen to some podcasts, and there is so much more there at Liberty.me. There's also the publishing side, so you can have your own blog, and it's integrated into your profile and into Liberty.me. And one of the upsides, what I consider to be the biggest plus for Liberty.me, is no internet trolls. And that's because internet trolls don't want to have to pay to be internet trolls. Internet trolls want to go onto free sites and goof with people there. Well, Liberty.me is a paid service, so you don't have to worry about the trolls. So join Liberty.me. I am still working on getting a coupon code or a referral code again. FPP Radio had been my referral code. Something happened to that a couple weeks ago, and I really, when I say I'm working on it, I mean it's on my to-do list, and I'll get around to it at some point. But you should still definitely check out Liberty.me, and I'm fairly certain that you'll like it because it's like Facebook's, but so much better because it's like all of the good things of various parts of the internet put into one site. And Jeffrey Tucker has done a tremendous job with Liberty.me. So back to the article now about the woman in Kingsport, Tennessee, who decided to print some money at her house and glue the front and the back together, and apparently wasn't that careful with it because one of the $100 bills that was found in her purse when the police were called to the gas station, the backside was upside down, or The front side was upside down. Well, one of the two sides, they were upside down. Like they didn't line up. The article here continues. It says a couple of receipts from Walmart were also found inside the purse, showing that she had purchased copy paper and a printer. So not only did this woman, who I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, she's one of America's dumbest criminals, right? So not only did she print the fronts and backs of $5s and $100 bills and who knows what other ones, but she glued them together, and then she kept the receipts for the paper and the printer in her purse, along with presumably other bills. It says that they found a $100 bill that was counterfeit, so don't know if there were other bills in the purse. Downs was then placed in handcuffs and reportedly told the police officer, "I don't give a bleep. All these other bleeps get to print money, so I can too." She was placed in a patrol vehicle and transported to the Kingsport City Jail. While at jail, she was reportedly read her Miranda rights and was interviewed. She reportedly told officers the receipts that were found were items she used to print the money in her apartment. She then told officers she read online that President Obama made a new law that permitted her to print her own money because she is on a fixed income. She was charged with criminal simulation and counterfeiting, and I have no clue what criminal simulation is, but my guess is it's probably one of these like catch-all charges like disorderly conduct that says you did something illegal, so therefore this is an offense. So my guess is one of these two charges will ultimately be dropped because this woman is probably going to take a plea deal. And why am I so certain that this woman's going to take a plea deal? Well, because statistically, somewhere near like 93% of people that face criminal charges take a plea deal. And in a lot of those cases, they'll have multiple charges. They'll plead to one, another one gets dropped, something might get reduced down to, like a misdemeanor 2 instead of a misdemeanor whatever, or misdemeanor from a felony, something like that. So, yeah, no clue what criminal simulation is. The story here continues. She then signed a consent to search waiver, which officers executed at her apartment. Inside, they found several items consistent with being used to print counterfeit currency, including, and this is something that I never knew was considered an item consistent with being used to print counterfeit currency. And my guess is everybody listening to this has the following 4 items in their house. Okay, are you ready? These are things that are consistent with producing counterfeit currency. Paper. You have paper, right? Check. All right. Scissors. Check. Glue. It doesn't specify a type of glue, so any glue. Yep, check. All right, so far we're 3 of 4, and the 4th one, if you have this, then it's consistent with being used to make counterfeit currency, a printer. So pretty much every human that I know that has a house has these things, and some humans that I know that don't have houses have these things. So like if you've got an apartment, that's basically a house, right? So, like, pretty much everybody has these 4 things: paper, scissors, glue, and a printer. So, yeah, those are the items consistent with being used to print counterfeit currency that were found inside the home of Pamela Down. All the items were seized and put into evidence. Several more counterfeit bills, both cut and uncut, were located in the apartment, and officers estimated the total. And I'm guessing they mean the face value here. It just says the total to be between $30,000 and $50,000. And I'm guessing they're saying the face value of the fake currency was somewhere in that area. And it then finishes by saying, while the reporting officer was doing paperwork, another report was found where Downs had attempted to pass a $100 bill at an area restaurant earlier in July. The bill was falling apart and did not have any markings to show that it was real. She reportedly told the officer she received that bill from an Exxon in Greenville. So she's got the evidence in her house that she did it. She admitted that she did it, but no, these two bills I got from somewhere else. Well, something you didn't get from somewhere else is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio online, FPPRadio.com.